Oh, but it's nothing in comparison to number 1, the weapon that is the ultimate fuck you, fuck me, fuck everything in the eye socket. The Flechette Launcher. Basically a copy of Flak Launcher, but instead of having the use of killing the space popcorn that I so dearly love while poking Targoids, this tool is the developer answer to the massive issue that plagues PvP and in fact the whole of combat: the outrageously overinflated shields. If you didn't know, in Elite, thanks to engineering, shields can reach some incredible amounts that simply should not happen, and developers are too scared or cowardly or simply don't give a flying fuck to change anything about it. Instead, to address the issue in a roundabout way, like they do with everything, they brought to the table a new fecal paper mache. So, Flechette Launcher goes through the shield ignoring it completely, and for the most part will damage the internals more than anything. But due to how its firing mechanic works, it's near unusable in any PvP fight and even PvE, unless your enemy is, well, someone like me, who barely knows how to fight. And you can outmaneuver them easily and get free, clean shots. Realistically, this is not a solution to anything. No, wait, I noticed something when I used it, that many times Flechette managed to kill the drives first. Not always, but a lot of times. So, is this tool good for piracy? Well, it would be good if your target would stop. Be that by your hand or not. However, the target keeps floating far, far in the distance, making hatchbreaking and later recovery of the goods near impossible. So, woohoo, piracy is shit. Thanks, devs. I truly hate this weapon as an idea. It's not a cool new tool to use like shock cannons that I actually really like as a design. No, Flechette is a designer response to the community's outcry about how unbalanced engineering is. So instead of dealing with that, fuck you, here's a dildo bat, go have your stupid PvP fights, you ingrates. Or at least that's how this weapon speaks of its creator. And then you equip the high-end combat pussy destroyer. Lasers, cannons, and jet diarrhea. So what ship is the best for combat? Ah, well, you came to the wrong place, but I'll give it a shot anyhow. I like combat! But before that, this video is sponsored by Ridge Wallets. By now everyone probably knows who they are, but in case you missed, they offer up these neat looking compact sized wallets. And if like me, you tend to get a bit hoardy with yours, this is a great way to limit what you can carry, with added bonus of RFID blocking plates and more so, the lifetime warranty. It's a sleek looking little thing, so check out the promo link in the description or use the code YUMEX for 10% off your next purchase. Simply support the companies that support my work. So then today I'll rank the 5 best combat ships in the whole Elite Dangerous according to this idiot. The rules are simple. The ship must dish out as much tattoo removal lasers and needles, enough to devastate the tramp stamp of your opponent with more brute force than Doomguy applies to that imp's jaw. Generally speaking, the ship also must be pretty good for PvE and PvP. But without further ado, here we go. The 5th spot probably will be a surprise for many, the Chung Daddy Corvette. Yeah, I know, the Federals are furiously masturbating and typing some comments right now, but listen, the ship is excellent. And I could die happy if it sat on my face, but fact is, the ship's only good for PvE combat. Seriously. Yes, it is the 3rd most damage-dealing ship out there. Yes, everyone creams their pants saying it. And yes, the flight deck is both pretty and positioned in a cool spot. Yes, it's also most maneuverable of the big space barges that people use for combat in the first place. The problem, however, is twofold: the max speed and jump range. Well, yeah, sure, most combat ships have absolute garbage tier jump ranges. The top speed, however, will make you wish you had an extra thruster, even if it means strapping a fucking sidewinder to your rear. See, the ship's so slow that no matter what you do, unless you kill the ganking target in a few seconds, even the reversing of ships will fly faster than you, let alone reversing or boost running. So out of the sheer disrespect for you, rarely anyone will stick around to fight you. So basically, you're a paraplegic black belt. They'll just run away. And here comes my favorite and personal combat ship that I maxed out just for such a thing, the Python. And also that copycat wannabe, the red-haired soulless stepchild Crate. As I have time again said, both ships are the same. Crate literally is just a copy-paste job. However, in the combat, they do have a notable difference. Starting then with Python. Like an aphrodisiac that you sprinkle into a microwave dinner for a hope of sloppy thrusting later in the night, Python is one heavy, slow-moving and an all-rounded ball of fun. While it's notable to be a less maneuverable ship, I personally prefer Python just because it's not one of those meta ships. Python is capable, though if you have the skill, even then you will be at a small disadvantage to your enemy due to that maneuverability and speed. However, you can take a hit and dish it out. Like working late with mittens, you have to know what you're doing in PvP to stay alive. While in PvE, well, only thing that matters is the damage output. So for that, Python is far more usable and less frustrating than the big ships. Add an extra bonus for being just a great all-rounder and you got a deal. As for the stepchild, the Crate, well, it has less health and more speed. That's about it. My preference is to soak up more damage than attempt some fancy schmancy maneuvers. Mostly because I pilot with sausage fingers, but even so, the extra speed is compelling argument that actually is a reason Crate 2 is a great anti-Xenos ship, which is where I use it instead of Python, which is a little too slow. Number 3 is the ship that I still can't find anything wrong with, the fucking Chieftain. When it was introduced, I really got pissed that I could not find any negatives about it. Seriously, it looks fucking cool, the paint is okay, maneuverability is pure pleasure, and damage, well, for the price, is really good. Even the jump range is not terrible. With this one ship, developers managed to not only plug a specific gap in the ship lineup, but also make two very cool and unique ships obsolete and pointless. Assault Ship and Clipper. Even though Clipper by this point was already as relevant as a good education in that freedom land, Assault Ship still managed to hold its unique position as a cheaper alternative to the beefier Furtherlands. The problem though is, both ships were under superpower navy ranks. Oh boy, and to get them not only you needed the cash, but... So when the ship comes out that's just as maneuverable, capable of doing more damage and costs the same with no need to perform satanic ritual for a space brick, that offer sounds pretty nice. And that's the Chieftain, the poor man's capable ganking machine. The number 2, like a true turd, is the most boring combat ship I could possibly imagine. The FDL, the Furry Lance. With its UFO parts and the bulging thrusters and the moist slit on its belly sure attracts all sorts of weirdos. Fact of the matter is, FDL before engineering was already hyper-focused on combat and did really well, but it wasn't overly overwhelming. Now thanks to engineering though, the UWU got the rainbow-colored UWU vomit. Oh god, what the fuck am I doing with my life? What the fuck is wrong with me? Why am I writing these? Help me! Seriously though, reason why Furry Lance is so beloved and used is not only because of its outstanding ease of use and maneuverability, but the perma boost amount, weapon placement, hardpoint simplicity, and more so the shield amount that makes this an obvious choice. It's super easy to slap some of those garbage weapons you engineered back in the day onto this ship and still dish out punishment that makes most gimps envious. And of course, I've been told by some freelancers that it's not that good, brah. Ooh, it's like, not good. Mamba is even, like, better, brah. Come on, Brazier, the fuck? Sure, whatever you say, mate.
This powerful heater can heat up any room in seconds without the high electricity costs.
And the number 1 combat ship with Botox injections, vacuum-sucked bloated lips, tattooed eyebrows, and butt implants is the fabled Cutter. Hold up. You said Corvette was only the number 5 because even out of all the big space barges floating out there like unwanted abortions, it was still the most suitable. So what does the Cutter have over this? Ah yes, well, unlike the Corvette, Cutter does not suffer from asthma. Unlike all other massive ships out there, Cutter has both a decent jump range and enough speed to keep up with the skinny boys for more than 10 meters, whilst retaining similar yet a little bit lower damage. But then to absolutely dunk on its peers, the ship's wrapped in more plastic than your average landfill MP3 player. See, in combat, there are a couple of things that you need to have in order to not be completely embarrassed. Enough speed not to let your opponent run away half the time, enough turning rate that you never need to resort to the stinking crutch called turreted weaponry, and enough health to last longer than a teenager with an open internet access. So, the Cutter has all of that in spades. See, most of the time when you see a Cutter pilot out there in open, they will bail and run away like children as soon as their shield goes to 50%, and then switch to solo mode. Unless, of course, it's a newbie who thought that, hey, I could take my girl for a stroll in the most crime-ridden part of the town at night. Well, bottom line, what this ship lacks in power or turn rate compared to its peers is handsomely compensated by the chunky bumpers they surgically implanted, or the pure speed. Now for PvE, overall the ship is just as good as any other big ship, just that for the anti-Xeno it's even better due to extra speed. And that's the list. For the other mentions, I want to say that Mamba, due to its being basically another copy-paste ship, this time copying Fer-de-Lance is I bet y'all been wondering which weapon is the best, which one's the worst.
No, I haven't.
Shut up, Bob, nobody asked you. Anyways, I've compiled a rather interesting list and even managed to ask people what would be the best and what the worst weapons in Elite Dangerous. So, to kick off this series and contrary to the title, for everyone's enjoyment, I'll start with the most outrageous and disgusting birth defect riddled Hellspawn and move from there. I've split all weapons in 6 different categories, where each weapon can swap places with others depending on the context you give. Cause let's be honest, just asking, what would be the best weapon for me? Would be pointless. A given scenario and context matters. But whatever, Yamix doesn't give 2 paraplegic operated roadkill catapults to care enough about context as is. So then quickly before we start the list, here are excluded weapons. These are really just tools, not weapons. Well, maybe mining lance is meant for combat. Oh, sorry. I couldn't just finish that sentence with a straight face. Combat weapon. What a good joke. Seriously though, 3 of these weapons are mining tools. exposed. Point defense is a utility that technically can deal damage, and flak launcher, though used in combat, is only good against Targoid Swarm, while no other weapon can kill it, making it a tool, not a weapon. Alright, that's good, huh? Okay, well, let's move on then to what I call the Stillborn-fueled dumpster fire weapon tier. Every weapon in this tier is underbalanced, misdesigned, broken, and useless. And unless you think that shoving your head up the wood chipper is a good idea, or you just simply want to aggressively meme as if it's going out of style, do not use them. From this list, oddly, the weapon that I deemed to be the worst in one of my past videos is not worst anymore. Still, the video is well worth a watch, so check the description for the link. From this pile of twice-used tampons and moldy cum rags, Torpedo turns out to be the least smelly and parasite-riddled one. See, Torpedo would be the most usable from this list, but fuck me, is it still useless? But surprisingly, my thoughts have changed about it a little. Or rather, developers have screwed over other weapons so hard that the poor things need surgical anal intervention before they can walk again. Where was I? Oh! My opinion, just like my anus after a good spicy meal, quickly shifted after a fellow content creator by the name of Exigeous notified me about the change. Or a bug. Cause I hope it's a bug. For the mine launchers. See, now, mines take about 5 seconds to arm, and those that are not weapon savvy, arming time means that if this projectile hits anything in that time, it won't deal any damage. So think of it as a arming time for a bukkake bottle in a microwave. It will blow up at some point, but not right now. So basically, you can't even use mines as a defensive weapon anymore, which they exclusively are. First off, mines are useless against NPCs. There's no disputing that, making you question what was the point in the first place, but whatever. Now, due to this change, you will never hit your enemy unless for some reason your enemy felt sorry for you and rubbed lemon juice and bear mace in their eyes during a fight or a gank. The attacker literally has to be 5 seconds of time behind you, which, let's be honest, is near impossible for a ganker ship. Plus all the mines show up on the radar 8 fucking kilometers from you. What kind of a mine shows itself like that? What are developers doing with these stillborn-fueled dumpster fire weapons? I have no idea. It feels like they're not playing their own game with them. And I'm the last person to suggest that line of thinking. Believe it or not, I've defended developers and people used to say that, but now seeing so much shit, and not only in weapon segment of the game, I simply cannot deny it, and I hate that I have to say that. Yet, it's not over. Oh no, not yet. You know what would be even worse? If you had to do personal narrative, or simply grind the game for an unlock of a weapon that is complete shit. The Enzyme Missile. A dumpster fire missile that causes some small damage and adds the Space Aids Light version to the target for a limited time. By that I mean it applies additional damage over time. Not only deals basically a negligible amount of damage, it's also a non-homing, single-size weapon that, as an extra insult, requires you to spend hours of quality elite gameplay, you know, grinding, before you're allowed to even use it. It's just disgusting, useless, and as said, insulting. So yeah, I'm thinking it's the worst weapon, despite my long rant on mines. As you see, mines still can be, I guess, deadly if you get lucky, but with Enzyme Missile, even point-blank perfect shots all the time will not kill a single ship. I still cannot believe that this one gimmick is what the designers of Elite Dangerous thought would be worth your grinding time. And moreover, see an actual use in combat. When I say this weapon is useless, I mean it is fucking useless. In fact, I think that you're better off with mining lands than this weapon. No, you know what? I don't think. It's a fact. That's how bad this piece of STD launching, venereal disease spreading dumpster fire is. Congratulations, humans, you tried to replicate the Targoid alien Lugi missile. Well, you made a cheap Chinese knockoff version that is comparable to the Elite Dangerous development as a whole. The initial execution was great, but every other new addition or update seems to pile up more crap on top, and here we are, having our time totally not wasted. As the very last thing, I think this shouldn't be said, but I guess developers are so thick that it must be. Every single weapon on this list has to be rebalanced immediately. So there you go, the stillborn fueled dumpster fire weapon tier. Do let me know what you think, or whether or not you would add these specific weapons or take out some of them, which should raise a couple of more questions for you as a person. But regardless, leave a comment down below and of course share the video and all that stuff. Anyways, next up we have trash tier weapons. It's getting better, well, slightly. I bet y'all been wondering which weapon is the best and which one's the worst. No, I haven't. I swear to Empress Bob, shut up! So, we're moving on from the stillborn fueled dumpster fire weapons onto the plain old trash tier. I do have to remark that the poll I did about worst weapons, people were less decisive as to which one was the worst one. Sure, torpedoes were high up there, but oddly, weapons that required unlocking of any kind were quite neglected. Probably because you need to unlock them to know about them. So obviously not a lot of you know about many of them, because you don't even bother, and who would blame you? Well, that changes today. As for this tier, all but 2 of them are power play weapons. You see, weapons in the trash tier are not completely useless and can actually kill someone. Well, eventually, but they're still so bad, they woefully lack an upside, and most of them are just plain old, this game designer was snorting cocaine up a hooker's ass while designing it, levels of gimmickry. So then, multi-cannons. Though I made a pretty good video explaining how developers spent zero effort in making it, which I recommend you take a look afterwards, there will be a link in the description. From objective standpoint, this weapon is basically an extremely limited multi-cannon. That's all, which also makes it the best of this tier, unfortunately. There literally is no real reason why developers couldn't have just made an AX ammo synthesis as, I don't know, an experimental effect, or synthesis for a normal multi-cannon. But no, lazy hacks don't know how to code or model things, so copy-paste away. Just pitiful. How could anyone be called a developer after releasing something like this? I don't know. You know, it's funny that after my rather impassioned rant about this weapon, I think it generated a rather interesting reputation for the weapon, and you recognize it as such as well. Even so much that this weapon, in the poll I made for the worst weapons, was the top runner. Still, today I'm looking at more objective rankings, I guess. Anyways, then moving on, we have Enforcer Cannon. This basically is a small fixed multi-cannon only, with more damage per bullet, with lower fire rate and higher bullet speed. Yes, it's a multi-cannon with good benefits, but again, limited just like advanced multis, but in comparison deals less damage even engineered. Plus, only being a small-sized version, not really that many ships would benefit from it. As for most of the ships that have bigger hardpoints, you can just pick up bigger version of a multi-cannon, and that'll do better for most part. Then moving on, we have Containment Missile. It's a gimmick, only catches noobs by surprise, otherwise useless. Flechette Launcher. Oh god. Okay, so this is a purely pirate weapon that is made to disable engines. Its fire mechanic is dogshit, its damage is abysmal, its use non-existent. Oh, and did I mention that this too is a personal narrative weapon? Oh yeah, hope you enjoy grinding to unlock it. Funny that this weapon is a developer lazy attempt at solving the shield issue. Those that don't know, in Elite Dangerous you have shields and shield boosters. Shield boosters are basically adding a percentage of existing shields to the overall number. And due to that, plus unbalanced and unchecked engineering bonuses, a shield of, let's say, 1500 health can turn into a shield with almost 11,000 health, without resistance is calculated in. I'm not kidding! It's on a cutter with prismatics, engineered and heavy-duty boosters. It's insane and overpowered. So instead of nerfing boosters or their engineering effects, developers, as the geniuses they are with all the issues in Elite Dangerous, they do not wish to deal with any problems head-on, and instead attempt to scurry around it. Lo and behold, here comes Flechette Launcher, the weapon that goes through shields. Do I need to repeat myself? Devs, you have people on staff that I know are pushing for shield booster engineering nerfs. Please, listen to them. We need hull tanks back. And then moving on, we have Pulse Disruptor, Retributor, and Kratos Scrambler. All three laser types with each fixed only and single type size. Massive downsides and gimmicky at best upsides. And for every single one of them, you need to wait. Yes, not play the game, but wait 4 weeks before you can start even thinking of picking it up. Great design, great gameplay, power play is amazing, and people responsible are geniuses. But seriously though, these three are the worst from this weapon tier. In fact, actually the worst one of all of them is Keto. I mean, the idea is kind of a cool on paper. Deal shit tons of damage to the shields and almost none to the hull. It makes for a good pirate intimidation weapon. But then you remember, it's only a small size and has range of 1,000 meters. Yep, it's just like mining lance. But then again, at least the fucking mining lance can be used for mining at longer ranges. But this? The fuck is this even good for? Absolutely nothing, say it again! Ha! Come on now! What is Keto good for? Absolutely nothing, say it again! So that's the trash tier. Woefully underperforming and should be put in the flaming garbage can where they belong. Oh, and as for the names for these tiers, see, I don't choose them to be funny, because let's be honest, most of my stuff lots of forum dads call cringe, probably because they lack the ability to feel amusement anymore, but whatever. Still, I name each tier according to what the weapons are, so if they were just bad, I would name the tier as such, but they're not. So here we are. Actually, speaking of that, next up we got the semi-trash weapon tier. Now, that's pretty uplifting, right? Well, okay, if you don't like that, then oh gods. Well, you can learn more about the stillborn fuel dumpster fire weapons too. And I'm totally not judging.
I'm telling everyone in the industry to never work with you.
Ouch. Those words sting like a paper cut.
I bet you all been wondering which weapon is the best and which one's the worst. Nope, I haven't. Burn in hell, Bob! Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the semi-trash collection of weapons in Elite Dangerous. A collection of things that just could not make it as a real boy in the Pinocchio's world of ordnance, murder and mayhem. In fact, all but one of them are made for a specific niche gameplay. And outside it, well, let's just say that the underwhelming feeling creeps up faster than a Catholic priest onto an all-boy choir. So then we start with the Guardian Gauss Cannon, the anti-Targoid railgun version. This is the best weapon for this gameplay. There is no doubt about that. But as soon as you step outside the comfort Targoid butt-fucking parlor, the facts of the reality hit harder than a slightly drunk soccer mom ramming a McDonald's. It's bad. Like, really bad. Oh, but there's one amazing thing. So it's called a Gauss cannon, right? And not a railgun. Okay, see, railguns in its design is simpler and also less powerful than a Gauss weapon. And you know what? Feel free to look up the topic itself. It's fascinating. Still, Gauss cannons are also known as coil guns. They use, you know, coils and magnets. But does the in-game model looks like it uses coils? No, it's breaking my immersion. Oh, and the reason why this weapon is so good, it shoots a hit scan load into a Targoid, penetrating it with brutal force, and probably impregnating it with some Guardian stale and crust-dulled relic-like stuff. Next up we have Guardian Shard Cannon, buffed normal shotgun made for Targoid combat. Not as useful as the Gauss cannons, due to, well, being normal damage weapon, not a precision one. Still, it is possible and indeed has been demonstrated time and time again that you can insta-give, or at least kinda insta-give, a solo Cyclops with these weapons. It makes it even funnier that the game tends to crash if you do so, and don't play the game in the intended way, that is, kill the Huns first, but instead just go straight up with the brutal prison rape on the alien species. Oh gods, am I telling people again how to rape an alien species? The fuck is wrong with me? Anyways, as for the Guardian Plasma Charger, well, at least it's more damage than AX Missile and Multi-Cannon. Yeah, I don't even know why these things aren't named advanced and moved out to experimental, but hey, I guess developers don't even play their own game to realize that they are a thing or remember them. Still, more effort has been put in them than the real advanced multi-cannon, by which I mean that they at least gave them different models, frankly nice looking models, but they are in every meaningful way outdated and obsolete. Yes, obsolete, because once the Guardian weapons came into existence, these not only got thrown out the window of an Empire State building, but willingly jumped. I still to this day don't get why the game still featured these weapons, and more so, why are they still in experimental? Oh, they don't need a personal narrative? Like the Guardian weapons? Okay. What else you got? Yep, that's what I thought. So then finally in the semi-trash weapon tier we got cannons. I used to think that they were really good but just needed godlike aiming skill. Yet, it's not true. Even with the top tier wannabe pussy crusher skill, the projectile speed is in that awkward spot where it's not fast enough to be easy to aim or slow enough to remind you that you shouldn't shoot it at distance. And the fire rate is in the same spot too. Basically, cannon is like a plasma accelerator but without any of the good features. Sure, engineering makes it better, but it just misses that one good aspect or change to be okay. Oh, and if you mention the special engineering effects, yes, Canon has them. For the most part, either they are useless or gimmicks. I guess you can consider cannons to be that one weird middle child of the weapon world that ended up being neglected and fucked in the head a little. So there you have it. Basically get the Gauss cannon right away and throw rest of the weapons on the street or back alley, or I don't know, donate them to special needs Alliance Combat Militia or something, or what they call it, Alliance Army. But for the sake of your own sanity, do not use them, unless again you have lost your shit and decided to go on a pathetic meme spree. Now, of course, I invite you to tell Yamix how fucking wrong he is and has shit for brains, so feel free to do that down below. But hey, like it or not, sharing the video is a good thing. Next up, let's see. Oh, we are getting to the good stuff, the support weapons. Or if you like and have some issues, take a look at the trash tier and learn what are the worst weapons than this list of things.
The CIA has particular skills in developing relationships. Life is all about relationships.
I bet y'all been wondering which weapon is the best and which one's the worst. No, I haven't. Just Bob, I told you, Bob. One more time, Bob. I will bring out my pimp hand, Bob. But I was just trying to be supportive. Be gone, Tots. Okay, now that that's done, the support weapon tier. Well, how to best describe it? They would be good for main or primary weapons, but somewhere or somehow they're just designed in order to prevent that from happening. Realistically, these are just two weapons with two variants each. Still, when used in tandem with other weapons, can be pretty useful, if not devastating. And yet, as said previously, being used as the only weapons will fail spectacularly. Okay, so let's start with the Pack Hounds, the best of the bunch. Obviously, it's a missile type, but in comparison, it absolutely has no downsides. While normally missiles are countered by the point defense utility relatively well, this weapon is designed by developers to beat the point defense, and then the only thing that it will protect you is either the meme-level sonic speeds, because you know you gotta go fast and make a horrible movie, to avoid things, or shields. Yep, the only other countermeasure is tanking. But if you don't have shields, well, welcome to the rebuy screen. That's how good the Pack Hounds are. Then we have the missile rack. Due to the ease of use and rather devastating module damage both for normal missiles and Pack Hounds, they are considered by a lot of people OP, which... well, fuck, let's be honest, they are. In fact, Pack Hounds, though being a power play underpants stain that you have to wait 4 weeks to get due to no counter and immense damage, is actually broken levels of good. So hope you enjoy the great gameplay as you literally wait 4 weeks. And no, I'm not joking about cruel things. Developers, on the other hand, yeah, they may be okay with that. Yay, power play! Still, both missiles are here because they have one fatal flaw: the damage against shields being horrendous. Which is why missiles I consider as a support weapon. And after that, Imperial Hammer and a Railgun. A hitscan weapon with enough penetrative power to impregnate 10 ships in one shot. Well, I wish. Regardless, due to massive heat generation, even with engineering, they cannot be used as the main or only weapons on the ship. Plus, despite the 66% being thermal damage, they are pretty shit at taking on shields. Still, engineering effects like feedback cascade and other already mentioned good size make for a good module sniper if you have the skill, which you will need to actually use it. See, the firing mechanism sucks balls, so you better get good scrub. So there you go. Overall, missiles are piss easy to use and are absolutely devastating to modules while having little to no counters. This is why they're also banned in pretty much all PvP events or matches. So if you want to troll a tryhard, just use missile heavy build and make sure to strip those shields quickly. I guarantee assault-filled response. Fuck, even I get annoyed when someone like, oh I don't know, Exigeous uses pack counts on a poor pleb like myself, when you full well know that it would be super easy to take me out. No, I'm not only salty about that. Fuck! But as for railguns, well, as I said, sniping modules is what you do with it. And it depends on your skill, of course, how well you're gonna hit. Anyways, let me know what you think down below. Are these actually support weapons for you or not? Or are you perhaps one of those psychotic piss-jets hunters with Orel builds? And if that's the case, well then, how's your heat management? You see that thing? Anyways, as always, do share the video and your opinions, as next we got the OK tier of weapons. Weapons that are, well, okay. Or if you're morbidly attracted to the pure raw sewage like a fly to a rock festival porta potty, check out the semi-trash weapon tier. Gods help you if you do. Ooh, those were torps. Am I causing your death at this point? Backhounds, everything, he actually shot the stupid backhounds at me, and I'm going backwards, and I'm waiting, I go backwards. She's missing, and I'm going backwards. I bet you've been wondering which weapon's the best and which one's the worst. Bob? Whatever, it's just mediocre anyways. Moving on. Okay, is joke over. Okay, so we've come to the okay tier of weapons. The weapons that are, well, okay, usable and pretty much the baseline of what a weapon should achieve. Would I recommend picking these up? Well, yeah, sure, why not? They're neither bad or good, and considering that most weapons in Elite are pretty bad, super niche, or worse, gimmicky, these are actually a proverbial breath of, well, somewhat fresh air. So then let's start with the Beam Laser, probably the best of the bunch, as it's almost good. The damage is there and the drawbacks too, all as expected. You pick the weapon up and gift it to your sweetheart ship. Everyone's happy, then you take her out for a spin and set your sights on that wanted body and unload your illustrious I'm firing my lasers! Whoops, I guess going in dry was a really bad idea. I guess let's not let that bacon go to waste. Yeah, it's important not only to perform but also not to burn the rubber, if you know what I mean. Right then, moving on to the frag cannons. The space shotgun. I mean, seriously, what do you want me to say? It's a shotgun. In close range, highly effective, so much that you don't need to aim. Much like with explosive diarrhea, but utterly useless if you want something far away to die. I gotta say that all the other game stereotypes apply to this weapon. To use it, you gotta be like the cinematic abortion of what they call the live-action Sonic and go fast. But seriously though, put a few of these babies in a clipper and enemies will just disappear. As for why this weapon is okay, well, it's neither good or bad. It has a good upside and a subsequent downside that balance it out well. And then we have the pacifier frag cannons, the Space Shotgun 2.0. Less damage, tighter spread, faster projectiles. Again, what else do you want me to say? though being a power play module could still be actually useful, as it's not a small version and can be used as an actual main weapon on a ship. Add more range and you got a decent alternative to the original. Though remember, this is a power play module, so you're gonna have to wait for 4 weeks. And finally, the shock cannon. Surprise, surprise, the personal narrative actually gives you a weapon that is useful? Oh, I kind of forgot to mention that this weapon barely scrapes by to be called okay. And here's why. See, you do not need to unlock it once and then it's yours, much like other personal narrative modules. See, this thing is fixed gimbaled and turreted fire modes and small, medium and large sizes. Well then, that sounds neat, yes? Ah, yes it is, and it would be. If you wouldn't need to unlock it 9 times, I shit you not, while standing on top of a church. Fixed small and gimbaled small versions are separate unlocks. The fuck? The fucking fuck on a fuck mountain fuckhole. I wanted to make this a positive segment, but fuck me! Does this not make you want to punch a game designer or whichever disgusting corporate time sink implementing fuckwit thought of putting this in the game? This literally is the live service time sink 101. In no fucking way this benefits any player. Okay, well I'm good now. So, shock cannons. Some good damage, but without engineering, has rather high heat generation and can only hope to be mediocre because of it. So, basically, beam lasers, good in small and steady doses, recommended almost like a support weapon. Both frags, well, they're okay overall, due to being situational as shotguns are, and shock cannons, despite being a literal spit in our player faces, is usable once you clean the spit out of your eyes. So, thanks again, devs, I really appreciate it. So then, what do you think? Are these the weapons you'd call okay, or maybe you'd put something else here? Do let me know down below. Now, and while you're at it, do share the video too. As for now, next up, the good weapon tier. Finally some good shit, yeah! Or if you prefer, you can go and check out the weapons that are made for support. It could be interesting.
Dear Jammer, I missed you chasing me around the ice like an old Grinch. I don't remember you ever having the puck on your stick, so here's a gift to help with your handles. Warmest wishes, Juice.
I bet you've been wondering which weapon is the best and which one's the worst. Yes, please! I seriously will murder you, Bob! Oh, wait, what? Okay, well, never mind then. Listen in. Finally, the best of the best, a good weapon tier is here. Oh, and as a little bonus, the weapon that both me and you, the audience, have considered as the de facto best. Weapon 2. Like a goth gal with a fun personality, or shashlik with costs on the side, or a Federal and Alliance mutual suicide pact. You know, all the best things. Anyways, all the weapons in this list are without a doubt recommended for general or niche use. So then, without a further ado, let's go from the worst to the best this time. Pulse laser. Now, if the beam laser was the best of the okay tier, then this is where it had to be the pulse to be called good. And unfortunately for beams, when faced with the versatility and use, though having a healing effect option, beams just could not compete with the efficiency of the pulse laser. In fact, the pulses are so efficient that they border on non-energy weapon territory. So if you are determined to have all thermal weapon build, pulses are a safe bet for safe use. Frankly, if you put 2 of these on a vulture with phasing sequence effect, though not right away, but eventually even a shield-heavy cutter will fall to it, unless it uses turrets. In any case, you can consider pulse laser as a steady backbone of any bounty hunting or anti-shield build. And then we have burst laser. Okay, so while pulses are the most energy efficient weapons, burst lasers are the most DPS efficient weapons, as in for each energy unit in power distributor, bursts will deal the most damage. Also is the best gimbal laser weapon to use too, due to rapid burst shot that will make sure that at least one of the shots hit the target with the jitter from gimbals. Actually, you can think of pulses as your little runabout car you can use for work and family and whatnot else, but bursts are the sweet Skyline R34 in your garage for when you want to really burn the rubber. Then next we have advanced plasmas. Yes, one of the power play weapons managed to actually be good, though mostly being a variant of a really good weapon already. Still, due to the faster fire rate and overall DPS, makes it a formidable entry for the main guns. I've especially seen some fun ways people have used this weapon in vultures and Federal airships. And finally, the pinnacle of the good weapon tier, the original plasma accelerators. Yet, due to the lack of gimbal version, loses the best weapon title. Overall, the weapon is very skill dependent, but devastating with good engineering. An outstanding all-rounder that I actually use as the only weapons on my pleasure Python. Python, yes, the ship that I use for a fun NPC killing. All 5 hardpoints full of plasmas may seem like a stupid idea when you have to deal with thermal and kinetic damage resistances. But that's the beauty of the weapon, unlike with railguns, that reportedly have 66 to 33% split favoring thermal to kinetic damage. Plasmas have 20-20 split for thermal and kinetic, and the rest of the 60% are absolute damage. And that's the only weapon in the game that has that absolute damage type. Well, if we don't count the plasma chargers. Not that the game would tell us that information. Thanks, devs. Anyways, with my Python and all 5 plasmas, it's so gratifying to just hit all of those shots on one target and see the shields bursting and hull taking damage on top of that. Also, my throbbing Python will pretty much vaporize any small ship with this setup, so that makes shooting and connecting my load all the more worth it. Frankly, I used to be in the camp burst laser, but after coming out of the NPC killing safe zone, the PA builds showed me what could be really possible. Too bad I aim like a drunk who snorted a kilo of cocaine. Oh well, it is time to get good. And so, in the very end, we come to the best of the best. The weapon that makes every pilot's suit moist and unusable. That weapon that a notable majority of you consider to be unbeatable. So let's beat our collective meats together. Hands, yes, put your hands together for the multi-cannon. It is the most customizable and efficient weapon in the game. With engineering, you can get all the DACA, additional thermal damage, projectile speed, penetration. Oh, and did I mention more DACA? It has all the DACA. Indeed, multi-cannons, due to their minuscule power draw, both from plant and distributor, allows you to switch pips to other parts of the ship while still offering decent, if not good amount of damage, both in range and close up. A quintessential aircraft and spacecraft combat weapon that in its simplicity just cannot be beaten. At this point in my poll that I made about these weapons, multi-cannon was a clear winner by a long shot, second was a beam laser, and third was railgun. And it's no surprise, see, the combination of beams and multi-cannons cover each other's weak points. So for multi-cannons it's obviously the lack of thermal damage, and for beams it's the kinetic damage as well as the power draw. So it's obvious that a lot of people run multi-cannon beam setups, which is quite clearly reflected in the poll. And railguns? Well, it's the best support weapon for skilled players, so it's no wonder it's there too. Frankly, plasmas come very close to beating multis, but the versatility and gimbal modes is what edge out multi-cannons as the best. Sure, it's also quite common to see plasma accelerator and rail builds, but it's only when you can aim right, and not like someone who just took a bottle of brandy straight as an IV drip. So I guess the ease of use is what makes multi-cannons quite appealing. So then that's the full list. Let me know what you think down below. Would you change any weapons places in the series, or was there something I missed? Regardless, do share the video and the series as well. But as for now, well, guess you can take a look at the OK weapon tier list. Or if you're a sadist, check out the Stillborn Fuel Dumpster Fire tier. I guarantee it's quite useless, so you can learn what to avoid and why.
To make sure Canada has enough cheesemakers for the future, Balderson is creating a scholarship program to preserve the craft and make sure this doesn't go anywhere.
Walmart will be closing in 10 minutes.
He's cutting it close.
Oh yeah, Larry? He does this every year.
There are 38 ships as of making this in Elite Dangerous, and choosing the right one is important. So I bet you have questions. Papa Yumix, how do ship babies are made? By an overworked slave who just wishes you would die already and stop buying them. Also, fuck you, Bob! Today, I'll try to inform on what not to buy as I showcase the dog shit tier of shit. Now, I did want to just call this the "Oh my god, my ruptured anal warts have sprouted legs, kill me please" ship tier. But YouTube only allows about 90 character long titles, so we'll have to do with what we have. So plainly put, do not ever buy any of these ships for anything but the 100% completionist title or something like that. Or if you just want to look at them. And even then, only 2 out of today's 6 ships have unique cockpits, so yeah. Anyways, all of them fail in every category, or almost all categories, compared to their competitor ships, both in price and performance. Oh, and if it wasn't quite clear already, this is a message to developers themselves directly. These ships need rebalancing immediately! So then let's start with the top of the pile, the absolute worst health spawn piece of abysmal flaming dead hooker dumpster fire, the Asp Scout. Now, some keen-eyed viewers may notice that in my top 5 worst ship list, I mentioned that this is the second worst, and objectively speaking, yes, it is second worst. But when you take in count that unlike the first place winner in that list, it is an exclusive ship, i.e. no one other than a few people who backed the game a while back can pick this up. So, Asp Scout is a more prominent ship in this game. But why is it so bad? Well, in the price range it's in, competing with Vulture for combat, Asp Explorer and Imperial Courier for general use and exploration, and Type 6 for cargo missions. In comparison, it just looks like a mutated retard attempting to raid Area 51. The only, and I mean literally only outstanding feature of the ship is maneuverability, which is, among all the medium ships, the best one. So in a gist, if I had a massive barbed wire covered stick, I would take my sweet time as I'm impaling it through the asshole! Oh, and when I made that quote-unquote review for the ship, I literally was about to lose my voice due to some random sickness, and I bet this fucking ship caused it! Okay, now then as for the only exclusive ship in Elite Dangerous, the Cobra 4. You know, okay, let's go with meta on this one. So, Frontier Developments, in their infinite idiotic wisdom, attempted to trend chase, as they tend to do. This time with pre-orders in early 2015, as they were releasing Horizons, and it was a common thing to do just to release some pre-order bonus as you pre-order things. And that's where the Cobra 4 came from. An incentive for people to pre-order. So basically, Cobra 4 is a pre-order bonus for a pre-order of updates, which what season passes really are. Pre-orders for undisclosed and vague updates, which arguably Frontier never actually delivered to an acceptable standard anyhow. Okay, well, putting that aside, Cobra 4 is an exclusive, but can it ever be good? No, never. If you ask me why, well, just think. Let's say it became better than what normal players could get. Wouldn't that just create a pay-to-win pre-order bonus? Oh my god, how many more disgusting marketing terms can I cram in one paragraph? The gaming industry's fucked! So basically, Cobra 4 is a slower, less maneuverable Cobra 3 with less jump range and shields. The only upside it has is cargo space, which is the biggest of all small ships. But at that price point, you might as well just collect a little bit more and get Type 6. So yeah, it's just bad by design. Sad. Also, due to advertised status, it will never be offered to us mere mortals ever again. Seriously, I've been told by devs that no, this ship will never gonna be given out to others. Aww, that's cute. Isn't it cute? It's cute. Too bad it's the only good thing about it. If the keelback would be a baby, it would do and say the cutest things, but it would be the most dysfunctional thing in your household, including your average marriage. So keelback is twice as expensive as Type 6, and is touted as the most rough and toughest Type 6 around, with ship launch fighters, but in practice, what's the actual use for it? No, really, no one would buy the ship for real use. Why would you? Just making a combat version of a trading ship doesn't make it any good. How could it? The usual less jump range and cargo space applies, of course. Not to mention its peers, so let's just move on. Oh, and speaking of militarizing a trading ship, the fucking Type 10! The fucking pontoons, the fucking wings, the fucking spoiler! My fucking gods! The fucking spoiler! What was the art team high on that particular day? What's wrong with Frontier's art team? Is cocaine not enough? Did you really have to take LSD and inject your balls with pure hydrochloric acid too? And yes, it's funny as hell, I love it. Too bad the artist didn't go full ham and go for the double spoiler for the ship. Well, there's a lost opportunity. Still, why is it so bad? Well, looks for one, jump range for another, the maneuverability for the third, and finally the price. So, story-wise, this ship was the humanity's attempt at making a rashly made ship against Targoids. Basically, the only ship that could carry 4 large weapons. That's it. That's the shtick. Herp for derp, I can have 4 large weapons, turr. Yeah, what more needs saying? Man, what's wrong with both devs and in-game humans? You had the perfect ship already, Ganaconda. Oh, but no, let's just take the least combat ship to fight Targoids. Yeah, that'll end well. And all that thanks to Alliance. The fucking retards. After that, we got Beluga. Well, basically put, compared to its peers in price range, there are ships that do all of its key features better and for less money. That's it. Not even the relatively recent update where passenger-exclusive internal slots got converted to normal ones have saved this ship. It's big, clunky, admittedly beautiful and funny, but utterly outclassed in every way. How sad. And finally, Mamba. Oh gods, I love how this ship looks. In my quote-unquote review, I had nothing but positive things to say about its looks. And I still think that. This, to me, competes with Star Citizen ships for sure, but it won't hide the fact that it's just a Fer-de-Lance copy-pasted by lazy developers. It's sad how one part of the team can just put in such a fantastic work, and that good work is just desecrated by the other half. Again, much like most marriages, the ship compared to a cheaper Fer-de-Lance is a piece of shit, as it can turn way slower and have less armor and shields. The only upside is the straight line speed. Frankly, I weep every time I think of Mamba. Such a good shape, such a cool design, ruined by the copy-pasted nature, even in the paint job. But there you have it, 6 awful, horrible, and sad ships that you must avoid like the plague-infested, malformed, mutated Alabama offspring. I wish these would get the love they need, but Elite Dev Team have made it clear, with their actions in the past too many times, they will never balance anything unless it's game-breaking. And you know, I wish to be proven wrong, so... But as a little pick-me-up, you could go actually watch the bad ship tier. I promise it won't be as depressing as this one. Or if you fancy, check out the other videos in the series. Regardless, share this around and inform people. Other than that, well, feel free to tell me what I did wrong. I bet a lot of you, like the people in the polls I made about these ships, would disagree, to put it kindly. Oh, speaking of that, it was kinda weird to see how a lot of people didn't really think that Beluga was that bad of a ship. Well, I guess a lot of people just don't fly it, so that would kinda explain it. But remember, there's a reason why you're not flying it! Man, what's wrong with devs? Oh, gods. Oh, holy fuck. It actually is raining outside. Holy fuck. I'm not sure if you can hear that. Probably not, but still. It's raining in Latvia now. Fucking love it, man. Best day to record voice. Well, aside from the extra noise, but whatever. Moving on. There are 38 ships as of making this NLE dangerous, and choosing the right one is important. So, I bet you have questions. How do spoilers benefit the ship? They make you enter the atmosphere as first. Also, die once and for all, Bob! Well then, the bad ship tier. Unlike the dog shit ships, aptly named for its leader, the Asp Scout, ships in this list are, well, less shit. They are still bad, but there may be a nugget of usability among the fossilized excrement. While I would still urge a balance passed on some, if not all ships today, it's not quite as desperate nor sad. But it's still pretty fucking grim if I'm honest. Safe to say I would strongly urge you not to buy any of these venereal disease spewing diarrhea geysers. So then let's start with the grimmest case of all, Viper 4. But Yamix, it's an upgraded Viper 3! And what happened to upgraded Cobra 3? Yeah, it was monumentally shit. Safe to say the Lazy cannot make a good upgrade anymore. They peaked at Cobra 3 and should have stopped there. Still, Viper 4 is basically a tougher Viper 3. A combat ship with obviously a low jump range and bad maneuverability. Wait, what? A small ship, a ship that cannot take a lot of beating and should focus on dodging the fire, rather chooses to tank and hope for the best. What is wrong with you? It doesn't matter that you have the biggest hull of all the small ships. It's still bad. I still cannot fathom the thinking process behind this. Let's trade the only thing that keeps me alive for a bigger dick. Okay, then what? One pump and you're dead. Join the line of wannabe Targoid fuckers then. No, seriously, I made a video explaining what would happen if you theoretically tried to copulate with a Targoid. Go check it out. But in short, at your first pump, the Targoid would probably explode. Anyways, Viper 4 is bad and you should feel bad for buying it. Next up, oh well, this is gonna be interesting. Imperial Eagle, the only rank ship that is not locked, and is in actuality a mutated bastard offspring of Empire and Federation. So maybe it's the best of the both worlds? Yeah, did you forget what you're currently watching? No, Imperial Eagle, though called a refresh of the old Eagle, is just a ruined version of the original. It's like this is an ongoing trend now. Yes, it is the second fastest ship in the game, but it is the only party trick it has. Overpriced and underperforming, again, is the chant we all must play. But even then you factor out the price. It just does not offer anything in the small ship category of any value. It just looks weird with its ugly pontoons, like that one kid at school who allowed his mom to cut his hair instead of going to a real hairdresser. And here comes another case of let's fuck with a good concept. But this time it's let's fuck with the concept even more. The Crusader. The proof the chieftain for Alliance was a fluke accident, like a math and chemistry genius drug dealer. So basically it's a cheap fighter launching ship, but for that privilege it paid dearly. Oh, but I love to have my privilege. I love my privilege so much. And the same sort of text I hear from VR troopers about their privilege goggles too. Still, Crusader is a twice fucked chieftain, and even when you look at the ship as a standalone, is the fighter such a benefit that you are willing to sacrifice? Cargo capacity, jump range, armor, shield, speed, and maneuverability? Yeah, I don't think so. Next! Oh, the Diamondback Scout. The ship that just begs the question, why? Why bother? Why are we here? Why did your parents decide to drink bleach when consuming you on a satanic altar while dressed as nuns? Just why? Not a single outstanding or interesting ability, and as you take a closer look, you realize others do it way better than this loathsome dropship. The ship that I like to call the fat little piggy may be kinda useful for mining. Maybe, but you'd need to unlock it first, which is fucking horrible life-draining piece of festering diaper puke! So when somebody actually bothers to unlock it, it's usually to unlock assault ship or any other ranked ships, and this is just a bonus. True that you can have a decent damage, and in fact you have the most hull of all the medium ships, but just like with Viper 4, well, maybe slightly less than it still is not enough, as the maneuverability for a, frankly, a bit more multi-role combat-like ship sucks. If I had to pick an improvement that would make this a good stand-in for mining instead of Type 7, I'd be a jump range. Increase it so you would not feel like moving your mama from system to system every time you want to go somewhere. Next up is the mentally challenged. Yeah, it's Alliance again. And as I said about Crusader, this is where the first let's fuck with a good concept comes from. An attempt to make an improvement on Chieftain flopped. Not as hard as the second time, but still. So as a ship, this is a predominantly combat based, so it's already pretty limited. But even among combat ships, this one, well, it's kinda special. Attempting to trade the Stellar Evasion for more Viagra. And my question for that is, have you tried doing a parkour with a raging boner? Yeah, enough said. And finally, the Young Space Vibrator. The Dolphin. So it's bad. All the ships today were bad. Let's recount the general gameplay it could be used for, shall we? Exploration. Yeah, it's got the jump range, but there's not much space for stuff. So you might as well go with a holder for a cheaper build. Combat? Oh my why? Just why? Oh my god! And trading, for the price you can easily get Type 6. So what is the ship good for? And no, I'm not doing that joke again. Yeah, I didn't think so. Basically, you just get the ship either because it costs more than what you're flying right now, expecting it to be better, in which case, may the Empress be with you, you precious child, or you just need a space galactic instrument for pleasure. And there you have it, the bad ship tier. And once more I invite you to tell me how wrong I am, or maybe how great and all-knowing Yamix is. Still, sharing the video does help as you inform the populace of bad decisions that should not be made. Again. As for now, we're actually nearing some interesting stuff, so if you like, feel free to continue to one-use tier ships. Though even I, myself, have rather mixed feelings about that one. Or perhaps you're completely insane and you wish to look at the dog shit level ships. Well, you're all welcome, one and all. Just don't blame me when you get your dick stuck in a turbine. I mean, those Lycans will sometimes do that to you. So now if you excuse me, I'ma head out to the closest hospital for unrelated reasons. Oh, thanks, game. Oh, yeah, I was just about to film something and I didn't want to engage in anything here, but oh, I guess the event decided for me. I didn't accept any side, but hey, I got killed anyways. For nothing. Thanks, Elite!
Here's how to get exactly what you're craving delivered in 4 easy steps with Uber Eats. Step 1. Pick from hundreds of restaurants in your area, from popular chains to neighborhood.
There are 38 ships as of making this an Elite Dangerous, and choosing the right one is important. So, I bet you have questions. What is a one-pump chump? Well, Bob, it's probably how you were made. That also reminds me of the ships for today's lineup. To make it completely clear, some of these ships are here because they are bad, others because they are predominantly just useful in one way and one way only. Frankly, I had trouble placing these ships in other categories, so this is a result of the mishmash conglomeration roasted puke ice cream. The line of okay and bad here is blurred, so tread carefully, my child, as there be dragons and treasure in them one-way caves. Let's then start with the first problem child, Hauler. Now, I've gone on the record saying it is a living, breathing amalgamation of putrid shit. And all of it is due to the stupid name. Well, okay, it's about 90%. See, the word hauler implies a cargo ship. Well, guess what? It's not. And yet, for example, on the other hand, courier fits the Imperial ship with such a name perfectly. But the word haulage can be nowhere near close to what hauler actually does best. Jumping. It has one of the top 5 jump ranges in the game. Seriously, this thing's nothing but a chair strapped to a frameshoot drive and oxygen and fuel tanks. Though most people end up using this ship as a taxi for transferring all their ships from one place to another. So yeah, that's that one use I was talking about for the ship. So dispensable and useful. It's basically a space condom. Just a shame it's not called a hopper instead. Hey, maybe let's make a petition. Oh boy, the typeset. Actually, did you know that a while back, developers made a mistake while balancing this ship? See, they increased the ship's jump range to such an extent that it beat out fucking Anaconda. Yes, it indeed needed something to make it an option at that price range. And jump range was the way to go, but not to such an extent. Still, that wasn't the funniest bit. See, they did change it after that little mistake to a more reasonable jump range, and people were happy. For about a few weeks, until developers released the new mining. As the new mining tools, the tools that made real money, i.e. seismic rock penetrators, were medium weapons, and even the subsurface tool was medium-sized. So can you guess what all the Type 7 enthusiasts at that moment felt? Well, let me put it in 2 pictures. At this point, the ship is only good for cargo transport. Oh, and some epic level meme lord trolling in combat, since, you know, it has the best yaw turn rate in the game. Shit you not. Second best goes to assault ship. Fucking god, Jesus Christ. Speaking of, assault ships here too. A pure combat ship that has little to no applications outside of its niche field does end up being that specialized tool. Frankly, the ship is pretty awesome, that's true. I mean, what other ship would give you an ice cream dispenser on one side and coffee machine on the other? Yeah, I think none. Well, okay, aside from the other piggies. But regardless, having poor internals for anything other than combat and pair it with the jump range of a granny, well, yeah, you get that one-use ship for sure. Oh, and did we talk about army rank requirement unlock? Oh boy, the Orca. A ship that I don't even know what to do with, let alone describe. Well, besides it being a massive space dildo for Targoid Snoo Snoo. Yeah, the ship has some cargo space and it has some jump range, so I guess it's okay for exploration, but not much else. And no, combat is not one of them. And if you see somebody doing combat with it and succeeding, either A, the pilot is pretty goddamn good, B, the opponent has arms growing out of their ass to be that bad and lose to that ship, or C, all of the above. So yeah, one use and that's exploration. Next up then, it pains me to put the ship here with other pony furry level degenerates, but here goes. The Vulture. I
Please
love
don't
this
spawn
ship.
me
It's
in the
fantastic to fly, fantastic to shoot,
accretion
silly
disc.
and great for what it's made. Even though there's no conceivable reason to
Thank
have
you.
a co-pilot seat. But what about the mid-battle shit power sting? Well, yeah, I guess that works. Kinda. And finally, the Big Bertha, the thick mama, the Space Cow Type 9. Funny how a while back when Type 10 got released, both ships had identical internals, and thus it made Type 10 actually better one. But good that developers realized that issue. Well, eventually, like months later, and gave Type 9 a bit of a leg up as the Cutter and even Corvette, a ship that basically was a massive gun platform, outmatched a purpose-built trader ship. So they gave Type 9 an extra internal slot, making it more competitive. Overall, the ship is only good for one thing: having lots of cargo. Its jump range is pretty abysmal, and worse is its maneuverability, so both exploration and even troll combat is out of the window. Like a soon-to-be mincemeat parkour wannabes. Trading and mining would be the only viable things despite low jump range. And you tolerate it because, well, you can carry shit ton of, well, shits and other pleasant commodities, like hardcore drugs and slaves. But that's about it on this little tier. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that some of you weirdos in the crowd are about to use or are already using one or more ships for their unintended or unsuited gameplays. Like trading with a vulture with turreted weapons on, like some sort of psychopathic maniac. If that's the case, I'd love to hear your experiences in the upside down world down below. But hey, maybe there are some ships you'd take out or put in. Just let me know, and of course, maybe share the video around as well. It helps for sure. Now let's see, if you're clinically insane, well, far be it for me to prevent you from enjoying the nature's pleasure that is playing with shit, so maybe you can enjoy the bad tier ships. Maybe okay tier of okay ships? Okay? Okay.
Here we go. Showtime.
What is this?
There are 38 ships as of making this in Elite Dangerous, and choosing the right one is important. So, I bet you have questions. How does Latvian food taste like? About the same as my foot up your ass, Bob! But seriously though, it's mostly bland. There are some good things obviously, but majority is just like today's bunch of ships. Run-of-the-mill runs that are there to just do the thing and not really be noticed. The workman's working horse, one and all. Overall, I would consider this list of ships to be the so-called baseline that everything gets compared to in a more greater scheme of things. Let's then begin with the ship that everyone starts in. Unless you have a special Kickstarter version, of course, the Sidewinder will be the ship you get. Since this is the first of all, it's clearly the truest of true baseline comparison everyone uses. After that, there are two types of people. People who, like myself, get a bit more money to buy the straight-up upgrade to Winder, the Adder, or people who choose to go with the Eagle as a cheaper but still very much of an upgrade to the little starter ship.
What about the people who pick haulers?
Oh my god! Spigglesworth? Did that degenerate scumbag, filthy peasant dare to speak up to me? Bring my plasma cannon now! But yeah, as much as I like these three ships to be useful on day-to-day basis, seriously, I love Eagle so much, they're still just not worth it. They are there to get you acquainted with the game and not much else. Yes, Seagull has the best turning rate in the game of all ships, and with Adder I can simply do the speedrun first portions, but it's just one moment. And the reason why these ships are not in the one-use ship tier is because a lot of us tend to use these ships for a multitude of reasons and jobs until we got something better. Moving on then, the glorious and fabulous and exquisite Banana X-Wing wannabe, i.e. Imperial Courier. The easiest of the ships to unlock from either navies, it is actually pretty nice for a lot of things. Combat? Check. Exploration? Check. Trading? Yeah, maybe not so check. Still, 2 out of 3 is decent if not good. But what keeps this little bundle of joy from advancing is this boy. Yeah, Viper has more speed, weapons and armor. More importantly, it's way cheaper for about the same performance. Then on the cargo stuff, again, there's a way cheaper option. A more godlike ship called Cobra 3, which fills that role. So for a massive price tag and a rank lock, is the looks and somewhat combined positives really that worth it? Well, kind of. And that's why it's only an okay ship. Speaking of some really neat positives and a massive hole in your pocket, as if you attempted to aggressively impregnate the poor thing, the Krait Phantom. Currently, this is the new Asp Explorer, the new exploration king for some. While with not the most jump range, it still boasts the number 3 spot among the rest of the flying saucers. Add some more space than in Asp Explorer and great looks, well, not even the price tag will scare you then. Even for combat, it feels quite overpowered due to massive array of hardpoints and power distributor compared to the other ships in the price tag. The downfall really is the price, maneuverability, and survivability, as the shields and armor aren't the best. If I had to describe the ship in a bodybuilder terms, then this would be a leg day or arm day, only kind of a guy with jacked up muscles due to the synthol abuse. And now I'm questioning whether or not it's okay to even call this trend okay. As for the combat heads, I guess I should give some spots to those ships as well, don't you think? Well, you're in luck, cause we have the mighty Dakabo, the gunship here. As the ship is, well, okay. Yeah, it's just okay. Still, when I think of a ship-launched fighter-wielding ship, the gunship is the first one that crosses my mind. Yes, I know it has literally the worst jump range in the game. But the thing about gunship is, it does everything to an okay level while having some extras too. Like the aforementioned fighter option, lots of guns! Lots of utilities, lots of guns! Oh wait, did I mention guns? Yeah, guns! Also armor too. But I gotta be honest, this thing's dragging hard and close to the bad territory. But it somehow holds on. I don't know, maybe it's just my massive hard-on for the guns! And finally the Corvette, the ship that curiously a lot of you voted for in the best poll, making it go to top 5. But why is that? Answer? PvE casual pleb peasants. But seriously, just think about it. The ship is the most maneuverable massive thing out there with shit ton of firepower. The ultimate power fantasy for those that shred NPCs. Though once you take it out for a PvP stroll, you find yourself outrun by everyone. Well, then maybe trading. After all, this thing actually had the second largest cargo bay for a long while. But just like gunship, is let down by the jump range. But still, at least it has plenty of cargo space. To be frank, by only a hair, this ship escapes the one-use ship tier. Corvette, just simply being one of the big 3 ships, can stuff whatever you want in it, which gives you that customizability, but ultimately, it's just a PvE Scrubs power dream. And I love it! So there you have it, the OK tier. Did I miss anything? Or maybe I shouldn't have included that one ship. I know you know which one I'm talking about. Don't take the guns! Well, in any case, do let me know what you'd change. Oh, and of course, do share this around. Why not? So now all that's left is the good tier of ships, as the good times are rolling now. Or maybe take a peek in the one-use, one-pump chump wheel. Promise, it's sadder than the high school dropout room under a blacklight. And with that perfect mental image, I'ma take my leave. There are 38 ships as of making this in Elite Dangerous, and choosing the right one is important. So, I bet you got questions. I like to be spanked and punished, Daddy?
Felicia,